A24's got a problem. Big problem. Big. What's up, guys? Today we're talking about Undertone, written and directed by Ian Tuason. Nina Kiri plays Evie, a true crime-ish podcaster who moves in with her ailing mother, played by Michele Duquet as her caretaker. While navigating this difficult stage of life, Evie and her podcast co-host receive some audio files from a couple who believe their house is haunted. Behind its intriguing concept as an auditory nightmare of horrifying proportions, Undertone leaves a lot to be desired. Let's get into it. Undertone is the most recent of A24's scariest movies you've never seen, or in this case, here. All the buzz around the film, this was one of my most anticipated horror movies of the year, especially with its emphasis on sound design. Sadly, the movie is not all that scary and carries many of the hallmarks of a dying horror brand. It's a one house, handful of rooms picture, two characters in said house, and only one of them speaks, Evie. Most of the shots are static images of her podcasting with co-host Austin, voiced by DiMarco from White Lotus. It's a slow burn with very little camera movement, though Tuason implements some canted angles and wide shots so your eyes are darting across the screen the entire time. But how do you make a movie, visual and audio art form, work effectively when it's not visually energetic and mostly relies on sound and noise? The set dressing is detailed, but barren enough to evoke the trauma that hides upstairs. Evie's mother is slowly deteriorating, a clear burden on her personal life. Crosses and Christian iconography are ever present. The lighting is effective at creating a mood, adding even more tension to the frame as we begin to see shadows moving behind Evie, reminding me a lot of the ways Oz Perkins utilized negative space and open doorways to create fear in Longlegs. The lingering guilt and shame of Catholicism, as well as Evie's addiction, revealed in a conversation with Austin asking if she started drinking again, all coalesce into a familiar cocktail of A24 horror. Oh yeah, and she's pregnant, but the apparent father-boyfriend is absent or kept at a distance due to Evie's prioritizing her mother's at-home care or something. While the plot was lacking, I can't knock Nina Kiri's performance, as I was pretty locked in with her. The true feat of the movie is that she's compelling enough to carry the mediocre implementation of scary audio footage being dropped into GarageBand, isolated, and reversed. It's like that Simpsons episode where they sing "Join the Navy" backwards, but with Undertone, that's the entirety of its horror. The movie has a decent atmosphere, and as Evie and Austin dig deeper into the haunted files, you can't help but be wrapped up in the mystery. The close-ups on Evie and the long lingering shots of rooms appearing to light up and turn off on their own add a pulsing anxiety. It's definitely creepy, but nowhere near what it could have been. Eventually, those long meandering shots up and down the stairs or from the hall as Evie cleans up her mother or notices things are awry in the house become tedious. I got to a point where I was tired of all the buildup and wanted more, a real climax or some kind of answer, even a vague one. And the film does leave you with a majorly open-ended finale, which I admired, but I wasn't invested enough in what's happening because the film is overstuffed and lacks direction. In an old voicemail, we get the impression there is an emotionally upsetting element to this mother-daughter relationship, remaining mommy's little girl who she's praying for instead of being viewed as an adult. There's the pregnancy angle, but it's used to underline their strained relationship and Evie's grief, and the very obvious "with death there must come life" messaging. Once Evie stops praying with her mother in the film, things start to get bad. Maybe this is the cause of the chaos, but there's another thing. Early on, she opens a link to a haunted video, immediately calling back to The Ring, and then it's completely abandoned until it reappears in the finale. And there's also a demon who they call Abazu, who kidnaps children. There's even a creepy nursery rhyme. Ooh. It just feels like Tuason, or probably some executive at A24, was throwing in all this needless padding to help the movie feel like a horror movie. I hate the wasted potential, but that doesn't mean I hated this film. In fact, I quite liked all the podcast stuff, and the way Tuason's script underscores how deep these podcasters go into believing something. Anything is real. It's a neat concept to explore. There's some frightening imagery in here, mainly how Tuason captures the shadows, and cinematographer Graham Beasley does a lot with a little. I can't deny the negative space and the way the camera sways on its axis was reminiscent of Soderbergh's infinitely more effective presence, clearly an inspiration on Undertone. Hailed as essentially an auditory nightmare, the movie was far from sonically frightening. Perhaps the sound system at my local AMC theater needs a revamp. I felt more dread and terror from Damien McCarthy McCarthy's Caveat and Oddity, but I watched those at home with headphones, and both have sound design that are horrifyingly controlled. It's an element that can make or break a horror movie, and while this team didn't necessarily break the movie, it should have felt scarier. Sound should stand out in a movie that is marketed as being the scariest thing you'll ever hear. The writing was on the wall with 2024's Heretic. My concern is that with A24 entering their early-mid Blumhouse era, we are likely going to get more of these undercooked, overstuffed horror flicks so that they can turn a profit and make more Marty Supremes. I'm not mad at that, but as a brand, A24 promises a certain thing that they haven't been able to deliver on in a long time. Hereditary looms large over their productions, unfairly so. We've just seen way too many movies like this at this point where our heroine is scribbling in black and red crayon eliciting a horny spookiness. Yeah, she's going mad, but why? We didn't need the scary old lady, the demon, the Catholic imagery, the callbacks to liminal space horror creepypasta, especially with the upcoming Backrooms and its strong premise on a similar thing again. Maybe I'm being overly harsh regarding a film that I still kind of like, but it's been an issue with their marketing for a while now. Undertone was made on a $500,000 budget. That's pretty insane for a studio feature in 2026. It's already made back that budget, and it's going to make a lot more. Gen Z and maybe Gen Alpha will champion this as their horror movie. There are far worse movies out there that could be owned by that generation. I don't want to discourage anyone from seeing Tuason's movie. It's clearly an emotionally charged and thoughtful project, as he wrote it while working through his own grief. The grief angle is real and felt, a lingering sense of dread that some viewers may not be able to shake after leaving the theater. It's interesting enough, so I think you should go see it. But what's the meaning of Undertone? It's clearly about lying and the impact it has on people. Evie's mother was lied to about the saving power of religion, and Evie is forced to deal with those consequences, physically and emotionally, to break the hereditary chain. Evie is an addict who is lying to everyone around her. Tuason's script making it even more apparent when she and Austin jump back into character after breaking while recording. Tuason's movie is a dissection of the farce of podcasting, that everyone behind a microphone, or in this case camera, is broken, and their only will to live is hoping that anyone will listen to them lie and pretend loudly out into the void. Sorry, but the problem is that none of it is presented in a fresh or interesting way. Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe I'll change my mind. Undertone promises that Tuason will have a career in the film industry, and given that he's at the helm of the Paranormal Activity revival, he'll be joining the ranks of Zach Cregger and horror directors tasked with rebooting nostalgic horror franchises. His film is certainly audacious, and if anything, proves to be a conversation starter, a thinker, and a ponderer. And at the end of the day, a movie, especially horror movies, are meant to spark conversation and intelligent or humorous discourse. Tune into Undertone's strange frequency, and you might never want to stop listening, like a lullaby. Others may just hear a dull, deafening white noise. Perhaps the true victory of Undertone is that it will get some podcasters to finally fear for their lives. What did you think of Undertone? Were you wrapped up by its nightmarish spell or nodding off between ad breaks? Leave all the comments below, and before you go, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more. Until next time, we've been Curtis Reviews, and hold on, wait, do you hear that? Hold on, let me put it in reverse.
All hail Abazu.
All hail Abazu.